Hey everybody, Andrew Zimmern here. It is that time of the week. Ask Me Anything, Substack edition. Obviously, well, maybe not so obviously. I'm in a hotel room. Go figure that. Once again, I'm on the road doing this on Thursday afternoon, coming to you live from New York City. We have a bunch of great questions today, so let's get right to it. I really love this. This is like the best trivia game of all time. Taft writes, my city passed a ballot initiative to phase out the tipped minimum wage. Good for them. And lots of restaurants now have service fees on their bill. They do. Of all kinds. Lots of them have added fees since the pandemic. I'm often confused as to whether I should tip on top of those fees. Yes, I do, for a whole variety of reasons. We'll get into that in a second. And Taft continues, I don't always understand why I'm paying them. Do you have any advice? Yeah, here's the deal. Restaurants truly are a penny's business, and they can take that $20 chicken entree and make it $35, and you wouldn't know where the money is going. You'd think they're stealing from you, but that's probably actually, if it's a good restaurant, what it costs to put a nice piece of chicken on the menu when you add in all of the business costs, right? The restaurants, in an effort to keep a sane business profile, have endeavored over the last couple of years to make sure that they're providing the types of perks and benefits that people typically get with their jobs. Especially high stress ones that require tremendous skill set and a ton of hard work, like anything in the restaurant business. So they've added service charges. It's also a way to let the team that's cooking the food share in the customer's largesse in the same way that the front of the house staff does. I truly believe that the success of a good restaurant depends on everyone being part of the same team. That's really hard when people in the back are making $19 an hour, $20 an hour, $21 an hour, and people in the front in a restaurant like that have the ability to make more than that with tips. And at the end of the day, you're tipping on the service, but also the quality of the food experience. One of the things that I think restaurants need to do a better job of is educating their customers about where those dollars are going. For example, to let them know that there's a healthcare initiative or a mental wellness initiative that is being, or a profit sharing system that's in place. Something to let the consumer know where those dollars are going. If I go into a restaurant and my bill is $100 and I have $20 in service charges, I know that that's going to things that the whole staff needs. I also know that it's incumbent upon me in any service modality these days, and underscore any, to also leave an additional gratuity, which, depending on the situation, can be as much as 20%, in my opinion. One of the things that's different just in the last 5 years is that now everywhere you go, even the corner store. I was just in a corner store here in New York, grabbing a Diet Coke and before coming up to my hotel room, and the corner store here now has a tip option on there. And I mean, we do it in coffee shops. We do it everywhere that we come in contact with people who are working hard at jobs that are much needed, highly desired, and most importantly, are taking place in businesses that have special, unique populations. You have to remember, restaurants are the largest employer of single moms, single dads, first-time job seekers, last-time job seekers, new Americans, returning citizens, people coming out of jails and institutions, immigrants, you name it. The food is where a lot of people get their jobs. Independent restaurants alone represent as much as 6% of GDP. Staggering number, and employ about 11 million people. So we need to keep restaurants alive. We need to support restaurant workers, and we need to support our local restaurants. So, please, if you can afford to do so, dine out and tip your servers, regardless of what the service charges are. If the service charges are, I'm just making up, 22%, does that mean that I tip an additional 20%? Typically not. I'll usually tip something less. Well, lie. I live in constant fear of under tipping by accident, like especially if someone else is paying the bill and I'm at the table and then someone gets their slip and they think, well, that Andrew Zimmern is a cheap so-and-so. So I'm probably unusual in that fact. I always tip a minimum of 20%. I hope that helps. There's some great articles. Washington Post just had some great articles about tipping, and I encourage everyone to Google tipping habits 2023. A lot of articles will pop up around the country from different people talking about different situations in which you might tip. The guy that comes and cuts your grass now that it's summer, or rakes the leaves, or does the spring cleanup. Do you tip him? Do you tip your mail delivery people, package delivery people, the person who delivers your groceries on that app that you're using, right? I mean, it's amazing. Tipping is back big time, even as we try to reconcile it with a coming out of a sordid sort of history in our country. Tim writes, I love tinned fish, especially mackerel. Me too. Do you have any favorite ways of using the oil from the tins? Yes, I make mayonnaises with them. I use it as the oil and I save fish oil, and I'll use it as my olive oil for tomato sauce, which I make all the time. Recipe is on my website, and it is something I keep in my fridge 24/7. Have to have it. But salad dressings, marinades, things like that, it's fantastic. Eben writes, every time I see you, you're in a different time zone. Yeah, true. And I just got back from Zambia, of all places. Great trip with the UN. More about that later. How do you deal with jet lag? I stay up on the plane. I stay up wherever I land, especially if it's regardless, if I land overnight in the morning or in the evening, doesn't matter. I get on the new location's time zone immediately. That's the secret. Julie writes, I'm trying to recreate the guava bread from Annie's Bake Shop in Hawaii. It's got me stumped. The texture is tender yet glutinous with an oozy guava goo. She probably ribbons the guava puree a second time through the bread itself to get that present goo where it's already baked. Hard to find a decent Portuguese sweetbread recipe. Well, there's lots of really good ones of those online. Or decent Hawaiian bread recipe. Again, these are just sweetened yeast doughs. You should be able to find some good ones online. But Julie, if you were a serious baker, you may want to think about adding some rice flour. In other words, if your own recipe for guava bread is good, but you like yours just a little more glutinous, add rice flour. Go a third rice flour, 2/3 AP flour. And if it's not quite there yet, but it's on the right track, maybe just incrementally push that up. Rice flour is the secret to Vietnamese baguette, which I is just like my sandwich bread of choice. I just love it. It's got that great pulley texture to the center. So try that. I don't think babka is going to be close, and I don't think a stolen dough are going to be close. I think you're right. Something in that yeasted Hawaiian bread style, and maybe add some rice flour. And the more I think about it, because Hawaii gets so many influences from Asia, I may be on the right track with the rice flour thing. Curly writes, one of my favorite dishes with sardines is fisherman's eggs. Have you ever tried it? Of course, love it. Sean writes, I'm not sure you can remember, but years back there was an episode you did in Trinidad You highlighted a particular food vendor named Althea. I remember that. I went to school with her before I left Trinidad. Amazing. And I've been trying to find that episode, but to no avail. Wow. Where can I see old episodes of your shows? Most of my shows, obviously, some shows I made for other networks, but almost everything I've made now falls under the Warner Brothers Discovery mantle. And there's Discovery Plus, which is their streaming service, but everything is now being bundled up inside what is being called Max. That just got announced 2 days ago or yesterday, I forget which. So that's the place where you'll find it all, and you can just search Andrew Zimmern or just search the title Zimmern List, Bizarre Foods, Delicious Destinations, etc., etc. And the Trinidad episode should be there. It's a great episode. Sean writes, are there any tinned fish that don't taste fishy? Or is that the whole purpose of tinned fish, to give that fishy taste? No, that's not the purpose. Tinned fish that tastes fishy is from fish that is cooked before being tinned. So essentially it overcooks and those oils come out and it gets a fishy taste. Really good tinned fish, the fresh sardines, tuna, whatever, goes into the tin, olive oil, seasonings, whatever, and it's then cooked under pressure in that tin, essentially just cooked once. Iwa writes, my family is planning a trip to the area around Puerto Vallarta this summer. Lucky you. What should we eat? Go to local restaurants and eat what's on the menu. And I'm not trying to be a smartass. It's just that in that part of the world, especially in local restaurants, they are always sourcing seasonal ingredients. Now, you're going to a part of the world where they have a 12-month-a-year growing season, et cetera, et cetera. So I prefer, especially when I'm down in the Pacific part of Mexico, down where you are, there are all those different bays, to get out of Puerto Vallarta, the main town, although the markets there are fantastic, and go to some of the smaller villages in the other bays, and you will find just incredible seafood restaurants. The closer you can get to the water, the closer you can eat it, proverbially the last stop on the subway, I find the better the food is. And obviously the octopus, the pulpo there, the seafood cocktails, the whole grilled or fried fish. I mean, these are the things that are you'll find on every menu there, and you should avail yourself of them. All right, that's it. Everybody have a great weekend. See you next week. Take care.